Yes everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Howson and this is 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United take all the points in Paris. In at number 1 then, Ole got his selection absolutely spot on. This game against Paris was arguably one of Manchester United's best performances under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign, and it's no coincidence that he got the tactics and selection absolutely bang on for it. When we saw the squad that had travelled to Paris, it was fairly obvious that Manchester United was probably going to be setting up with a back three. I think I predicted a back three myself in my preview because I fully expected us to be without the ball and for Paris to have a massive share of the possession. The back three system I expected was going to be a big part in us being a massively counter-attacking side in this. And actually, that didn't end up being the case. What we saw from Manchester United was a team that was allowed to play football, a team that Paris didn't want to close down, didn't want to work, didn't want to tighten and squeeze the spaces. And we saw so many times United was able to just pass it through the middle, pass it into the final third and start attacking the Paris goal. The players that we saw fitted into the system though, I thought prior to the game when I saw the team selection, the two things that stood up to me was Tuanzebe playing after not playing for so long and also Telles playing when he's not featured at all yet for Manchester United. Two great players with fantastic abilities, someone that you knew was going to go on and do well, potentially, but there was no guarantees of this whatsoever. There was no knowledge that these would all work out and these would be good players and that they would have good performances because there's nothing to back them up. So there was both a risk. Both of those risks paid off though. And between them and with Fred and McTominay, we saw a fantastic performance from Manchester United, and it must be said, with Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. The injection of pace from Axel Tuanzebe was exactly what was needed to try and stop what was going on with Mbappe getting in behind. We saw Lindelof and Shaw instill a little bit of calmness. Whenever Wan-Bissaka went for one of the 8 tackles that he ended up going in for, we always had cover in behind. It also suited Telles on his debut as well because Telles obviously being a very adventurous and attacking fullback, he was given free rein to get forward and attack. And because he was given the free rein to attack, he looked comfortable whenever he got on the ball. And he created some fantastic chances for United. 3 chances in the 67 minutes that he was on the pitch. Manchester United looked dangerous at set pieces and at corners again for the first time since the 90s. It was a great debut from Telles, and I thought the one word I would use to describe it was confident. Scott McTominay and Fred replaced Pogba and Matic impeccably. The work rate and the combination of both of those two lads, they didn't do a lot on the ball because they didn't have a lot of the ball to do that with, but off the ball they covered the space, they covered their men and they made tackles and they harassed and they got in and they broke up what was going on with a very dangerous forward three from Paris. Number 2, Axel's outstanding return. If you watched Axel Tuanzebe last night, you wouldn't have thought this guy's not featured for Manchester United in the entire of 2020. Axel was sublime and for the most part nullified the biggest threat on the pitch in Mbappe like it was nothing. He won 100% of his aerial duels, maintained a 92% pass completion, including a 100% long pass accuracy, recorded 7 clearances and only fouled PSG's tricky attack twice. And one of those, I actually don't even know what the foul was for. It was a performance to be proud of for him, regardless of the fact of what United's system did to aid that. It was still a brilliant performance individually from Axel Tuanzebe, who now I believe has put himself right in contention for selection on any given Saturday, including this weekend against Chelsea. Number 3, Tony Marshall's Champions League struggles continue. A little bit of a mouthful. But it wasn't exactly a horrendous display from Tony Marshall. It just wasn't the most effective display from Tony Marshall. He's now scored just 4 goals in 29 Champions League appearances, 22 of them coming at United, and he's offered a minimum amount of threat last night again. He fired both of his shots off target. He won only 43% of his ground duels and lost possession on 12 different occasions. Although he won the penalty in the first half, his own goal screamed a lack of discipline. Closing your eyes when defending in a corner is just not acceptable and is something that needs to be eradicated from his game immediately. Now, it might seem strange to focus on a negative after an emphatic win in the Champions League, but Marshall's continued struggles against Europe's elites is a glaringly obvious problem that Manchester United need to fix. He will be back in for the Leipzig game, of course, though, next week, fully rested with his domestic suspension ongoing, so hopefully we will see a refreshed and motivated Tony Marshall back to strike fear into Leipzig. In at number 4, Dr. Marcus Rashford, MBE. Hero to millions on the pitch, hero to millions off the pitch. PSG must be absolutely sick of Marcus Rashford and late winners. Now, he did squander a couple of chances, really good chances, early on during the match, most notably the 2-on-1 in the second half, but he came up trumps late on with an absolutely blistering finish. Following his star performance in the Newcastle win, he was an absolute menace once again towards the Paris backline in what seemed increasingly vulnerable as the game carried on. Rashford fired 4 shots at goal, 3 of them were on target, as well as completing 2 take-ons, making 1 key pass and getting 77.3% passing accuracy. He looked to be Manchester United's primary outlet on the counter, and for the most part, he showed up again. And if we're having a look at Tony Marshall's inaccuracies in European competition, in a big game, Marcus Rashford, as we know, as he's shown last time we was here at the Parc des Princes, turns up in the biggest of big games with big goals. In at number 5 then, Manchester United can qualify. When the draw for Group H was completed earlier in the month, it was pretty clear that United was going to be up against it. Hell of a group. Leipzig, Paris, even Istanbul's a little bit tricky, although you would expect us to get something there. PSG obviously posed the biggest threat. They were in the Champions League final but a couple of months ago, and you could rightly call them the second best team in Europe. Leipzig were thrown in there to add to last season's Champions League semi-finalists as well. A trip to Istanbul isn't exactly the most enticing thing, but United's performances and result at the home of PSG proves that we can go anywhere and no one can sleep on the qualities that this team provides. Maybe it's going to be a little bit more difficult at home for Manchester United, as with no fans allowed in at Old Trafford, as we've already seen this season, but there's no reason that we can't build on what happened last night and produce some more good showings in the group stage and actually really set us up for what could be an interesting run in the knockout stages if we do manage to get there. This counter-attacking style that we implemented a little bit today does seem to work wonders against the tougher sides more often than it does not. With that being said, Ole could be tempted to use this yet again, I think, this weekend, and then when Leipzig visit Old Trafford later this month. That was a bit of a confidence booster. It was a good triumph. It was good to set our stall out with another big name on the European stage. This could be a successful European campaign for Manchester United, or I think a lot of us would be happy with just a respectable run in this. Make no mistake, Manchester United earned every single point that they took away from France last night. And make no mistake, everyone, including myself, fully expected Paris to roll us over. In a similar manner to Spurs, maybe not that bad, but certainly that sort of manner. Manchester United have got a horrendous month of fixtures coming up. If they manage to navigate them with the same sort of quality, style, confidence and assurance that we've seen in the Newcastle game and last night against Paris Saint-Germain, then they might just shock all of us. Always at the wheel.